Hi, I'm Bob Weir with another interview concerning the coronavirus pandemic. My guest today is Denton County Sheriff Tracy Murphree. Thank you for taking the time to inform residents about how the jail system is handling the social distancing orders. If you would, please begin by telling our viewers how many inmates are currently housed in Denton County jails.
Bob, our count this morning was at 960, which is it's a good manageable number for us. We usually, on average, have about 1,200 inmates during normal times, and we have a jail capacity of 1,700. So with the 960 currently in there now, it's a fairly manageable number.
Okay, so generally, how long does a jail inmate stay in the county facility?
Bob, it varies. You have, if someone comes in for a DWI or a misdemeanor or minor offense, they may only be in there for a couple of hours and make bond and be able to get out. On the other hand, we have inmates that may be sentenced to 6 months in the county jail, or we may have inmates who are waiting to go to TDC who are waiting for court dates that may have been with us for a year or two. So it varies kind of based on the offense and how fast the judicial system can get them through. So generally, on the most part, the ones who come in aren't here very long. Most of them come in for minor offenses and get out fairly quickly, but we do have some that have been with us for a very long time.
And well, how are you able to enforce social distancing guidelines in the jail system?
Yeah, you can't. 6-foot rule and social distancing, you just can't do it in a jail setting, especially the way our jail is set up. It's set up in what we call a pod system. And in the pod it's a huge room that houses 48 inmates and 24 on one side, 24 on the other. We have detention officers working side by side. All you can do is do your very best to keep the virus out of your facility, because just by the nature of jail itself and the work we do, it's impossible to conduct any social distancing in a jail setting.
Have there been many outbreaks of COVID-19 in the county jail?
Since this has started, we have had 2 cases, and one case came in. Our protocols had already been put into place. This individual was identified fairly quickly and has recovered. The second case came in was actually an inmate from TDC that was sent back to our facility. She was identified during the initial evaluation very quickly and isolated. So we haven't had a breakout. We've had 2 individuals who have tested positive and have since either left this facility or tested negative. So we've been very lucky in that aspect. I think our procedures have had a lot to do with that.
Well, what happens to those who do test positive for the disease?
We have a medical unit within our jail, and we have specific medical cells, which are negative pressure cells, which if an individual, if we suspected that they had COVID, they would go to that cell and be monitored by medical personnel and not be put into a large pod or into general population. So we are able to isolate those individuals.
Have there been some inmates released early to help stop the spread of the disease?
I've not released any inmates. I personally don't believe that that's an answer, is to just open your jail doors and let people out like has been done in a lot of states and in a lot of counties in Texas. I'll tell you what has occurred. What has occurred is we've got, a lot of our local police agencies which use our jail. They weren't making routine traffic stops as much. They're only stopping, very, bad offenses or very, dangerous traffic offenses. Some of the judges have given PR bonds to some of the lower level minor violators and allowed them to get out of jail. And it has lowered our jail population. And just the fact that people are staying home and people aren't out. If you're home, people don't come burglarize your home during the day. Your vehicle's there, you're looking at it. So just the nature of the stay at home things that are going on, I think has lowered the opportunity for people coming into jail. As far as opening the door and letting people out, absolutely not. Just some of the processes and just the nature of this has lowered our jail population.
Yeah, so I guess that that would mean that are there fewer crimes being committed during this time of the pandemic?
You know, I believe there are. And like I said, some of the reasons I pointed out, people aren't at work leaving their houses unattended or their vehicles unattended. And you know, and it's with businesses being closed, there's not a lot of thefts and things of that going on. And is it still going on out there? Of course. And our guys are out there 24/7. You know, we've recently had a vehicle burglary outbreak recently in the Lantana community. We're working hard to get in there and to stop that. As people get tired of staying home and you know, not only the hardworking people who want to get back to their jobs are tired of staying home, but our thieves and our crooks and our criminals are tired of it too. So we're still out there doing these things, and you know, hopefully we haven't had any issues or problems with a big amount of crime going on during this. You know, so recently with some car burglaries and things of that, but we are addressing that.
So not only has the pandemic kept decent people, law-abiding people from going to work, it's stopped the criminals from.
It kind of has. You know, that's their job, I guess, and their job really relies on other people having jobs and not being able to stay home and protect their property and things of that nature. So they, the criminal element's kind of been hurt by this pandemic as well.
Yeah. Well, at least that's something good about it. Anyway.
That's something, yes, sir.
Yeah. Let me ask you about your sheriff's deputies. What protections are in place for them during this pandemic?
Yeah, you know, Bob, it's tough because we have a job to do. You know, we've been open 24/7 since this thing began. There hasn't been, we haven't closed. Our deputies haven't been sent home. You know, we're asking them to take care of themselves, to monitor themselves. If they're feeling bad, if they have a fever, stay home. You know, and of course, you know, we provide them with masks. My jail personnel are required to wear it. They're in confined spaces. They're with, you know, inmates. My patrol guys and things, we provide them with masks, but they're not required to do so. We ask them to do so if they're entering an unknown scene, if they're going into a crime scene, if they're having to deal with some individuals, you know, right? Hey, put the mask on. Take some personal responsibility for yourself and protect yourself. But you know, social distancing and the nature of the work we do has not been possible, and we've been very fortunate that no employee of the Denton County Sheriff's Office has tested positive for COVID.
Oh, well, that's a blessing also. So is there some sort of social distancing within the sheriff's office?
You know, there for a while, like it's hard to determine essential personnel, and I tell you one thing I've learned, Bob, is just how essential people are in the many different jobs that they do here. And we've had, and we've since stopped, but when this thing started, we would have like our administrative personnel work one day, half the next day, just to kind of limit the amount of people in our facility. Also, one thing to point out, Bob, that our detention officers, before they come in and enter the jail, their temperature is taken. They're above 99.6, we send them home. Same thing for the people who work in these administrative offices. Every morning when people come to work, their temperature is taken. If people are feeling bad, they're sent home. You know, we're doing the very best we can, and so far we've been successful, and I'm proud of that.
So sheriff's deputies are wearing masks?
They're provided with them, and they're encouraged, especially if going into an unknown location or dealing with the public, that they wear them. But I'm not requiring them to. You know, it's as you know, Bob, that a lot of times wearing that mask can be a hindrance to their job. If verbal commands are important, talking to people are important, and being comfortable when you're out there asked to the possibility of having to use deadly force. You know, it's a balancing act that we're trying to make sure they're safe from COVID, but also to make sure that they're safe in the job they do. So they're provided with the hand sanitizers and with the mask. They want to wear them. they most certainly can, but I'm not requiring it of my patrol guys to do that at this time.
Okay, how about the availability of medical facilities within the jail system? Do you have that?
Yes, you know, we have a medical staff that's here 24/7. They actually work for the Denton County Health Department, and so you know they're the go-to people when you're looking at COVID testing and the things that COVID are doing to us. And so you know we're fortunate to have those guys in our facility. So anything we've needed, if we feel like one of our officers may have been exposed, they're right there to test those officers and to get them tested and make sure they're okay. And the same with the inmates. They take great care of them back there. They monitor them. And yeah, we're fortunate that we're a large enough facility that we do have a medical staff there ready to take care of not only the inmates, but the employees as well.
Okay, well, I guess we covered most of the significant questions. I guess, is there anything else you'd like to add before we close?
Just, Bob, just one thing. I'm extremely proud of my officers' detention and operations officers and the staff here. Like I said, we've been open 24/7 since this thing began. You know, they've been asked to work in conditions that, you know, in my lifetime in law enforcement, I've never seen anything like this. And, you know, we've kind of had to fly by the seat of our pants a little bit. We've tried some things that didn't work. We've tried some things that have worked. We found some things that work very well that we'll probably continue to use in the future. And I'm extremely proud of the people who worked for me, and you guys ought to be proud of them too, because they're doing a great job.
You bet we are. You guys, I mean, all of the first responders, what would we do without you? This is a time when you need it more than ever. And I am proud of the work you guys do. And
thank you. And they do a great job.
And I want to, thank you, Sheriff Murphy, for taking the time to do this interview to inform residents on what is happening within jail system. And we appreciate you guys. Just let them know. All right.
Thank you. I sure will, Bob. And I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you. And I want to thank folks for watching this. Take care.